In the Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay demo, Saburo Arasaka, the corporate god, was an option for V's childhood hero, and the Arasaka corporate logo featured on several buildings in Night City. Arasaka as a mega corporation is often described as a chameleon creature, rapacious and predatory. It was the most powerful megacorporation in the Cyberpunk 2020 narrative, until they lost the Fourth Corporate War. Although the Arasaka Corporation is diverse, one of its arms is more visibly omnipresent than the others, especially in Night City: the Arasaka Security Division. Arasaka are associated with ubiquitous black-clad guards employed by many corporations, businesses, celebrities, and powerful individuals, although it is currently unknown if CD Projekt Red will depict Arasaka in the same manner. As a multinational corporation of enormous proportions, Arasaka has interests in a multitude of different fields, including weapons production, consumer manufacturing, and commercial banking. Arasaka's primary divisions are security. Arasaka was the most obvious force in a world of corporate and private security contracting. Corporate manpower security means having on-site forces capable of repulsing assaults, extraction, and industrial sabotage attempts with quick response combat capability. Not all corporations or individuals in Night City have the power, money, or inclination to assemble security forces of their own. The alternative is to contract these forces from a third party. Arasaka is not the only corporation offering this service, but had the best reputation for securing a corporation's proprietary interests. Arasaka Security covers 5 basic forms, the first being on-site corporate security forces. These are the paramilitary forces commonly seen on patrol in places such as Night City. Arasaka Security are considered to be well-trained and equipped to handle most combat situations. Clients can order all-male or all-female guards, or guards fluent in specific languages. All Arasaka guards are required to be conversant, although not fluent, in English. Different levels of security force concealment can also be ordered, from completely discreet and invisible to ostentatiously threatening. If the security forces are visible, clients can choose to have them be unidentified or clearly identified as Arasaka personnel. Arasaka guards will sometimes wear the logo of a third party when subterfuge is required. Hopefully CD Projekt Red will adopt these nuances for Cyberpunk 2077. In most games, grunts basically look and sound identical, but Arasaka gives Cyberpunk 2077 a myriad of options in terms of physical appearance and accents. Arasaka also contracts out as paramilitary forces for one-shot operations, such as extractions. The board of directors at corporate headquarters in Tokyo have enacted policies ensuring that an Arasaka team never attacks an installation or corporation owned by Arasaka or protected by an Arasaka contract, unless of course such actions are of benefit to Arasaka. Another type of protection that Arasaka Corporation provides is personal security in the form of bodyguards. The service is popular amongst celebrities, wealthy executives, and the politicians of nations who no longer trust their respective Secret Service agencies. As with corporate guards, there are several options, including gender, dress style, race, and nationality. It is considered very chic and a status symbol in Night City to have one good-looking, full-time Arasaka bodyguard of the opposite gender on one's payroll. Arasaka Corporation also lease and sell their security equipment. This category includes lethal defense systems, advanced surveillance equipment, and other quasi-legal items. Computer security is another product available from Arasaka Corporation. Proprietary Arasaka Intrusion Countermeasure Electronics, or I systems, white and black, are also available for installation into clients' computer systems. Arasaka Corporation will train non-Arasaka personnel in the operations of all the security systems that it sells, but it is more typical for clients to buy a package that includes both the equipment and Arasaka-trained people to run it. Police services. As a division of its security arm, Arasaka runs extensive police contracting services. Because of the dismal state of much state-sponsored law enforcement, Arasaka does a lucrative business operating and supplying local police forces around the world. Arasaka police, like all corporate police, are required to work within the limits of civil and federal law with regards to police procedures and ethics. Naturally, Arasaka are more likely to circumvent these standards for convenience than public police departments. Weapons manufacturing. Arasaka Corporation has 3 massive factory complexes near Tokyo, which produce weapons and equipment. For the most part, Arasaka produces all of the infantry weapons used by its troops and by its clients. They also manufacture a line of body armor. In terms of Arasaka troops, Saburo Arasaka remembers the last of the true samurai, charging into American guns or die trying, and insists that his men would also be samurai, or at least aspire to that level of dedication. 2 special forces groups merit mention: the Ninja and ACPA Troopers. Saburo Arasaka still sponsors Hereditary Ninja, and their training from birth makes them dangerous agents and saboteurs. They are taught the classic ways of stealth and sabotage. Most of the time, their targets are not even aware that they have been targeted by Ninja, for the stealthy ones do their business via subterfuge and infiltration whenever possible. ACPA troopers are selected from the worthiest warriors and are trained for fearlessness and combat prowess. Their training and their hitting power makes them coveted battlefield troops. In many ways, they are the antithesis of the ninja. Where the ninjas are proud to accomplish their missions without notice, the ACPA troopers think of themselves as the new Hatamoto, special troops of their lord Arasaka. Hatamoto is Japanese for samurai. Consumer manufacturing. Typical Arasaka products include space planes, transport, pharmaceuticals, clothing, computer games, pre-packaged meals, and even office equipment. Banking. Established by Saburo Arasaka in the 1960s, the Arasaka Bank provides the basis for much of Japan's economy and was responsible for its post-war prosperity in the 70s and 80s. The Arasaka Bank holds several prestigious accounts with many large corporations and is the core of innumerable investments in trust funds. Arasaka Bank was one of the first to invest in the net and cyberware, so they hold royalties on several patents which continuously pay off. Many influential and wealthy politicians, private citizens, police departments, and corporate executives are under Arasaka's control, some willingly, some under duress. Saburo Arasaka and the board of directors in Tokyo have been using these puppets to further the Arasaka master plan of Japanese economic and military dominance. For example, in Japan, the constitutional clause prohibiting large-scale armament was trashed in 1996 by Arasaka-owned politicians. Within the corporation, only Saburo Arasaka, his sons, and the hand-picked board of directors and a few select analysts, executives, and operatives know the true extent of Arasaka's goals and influence. The highest priority for Arasaka employees is loyalty. Arasaka security agents will lay their lives on the line for the corporation first and the client second. Troops are required to demonstrate unquestioning obedience when they are dispatched on missions, although they must use initiative and intelligence on assignment or in action. Agents and executives who show signs of wavering loyalty or fail in their assignments are dismissed. Those who betray the company or cause a damage are eliminated. The Arasaka Corporation has many enemies in the corporate world, most notably Militech, who competes with Arasaka in security hardware and weaponry. Another perpetual thorn for Arasaka is the Tycho mass driver on the moon. In Cyberpunk 2020 lore, the Tycho moon colony dropped a rock onto Colorado Springs during the orbital wars of 2008, effectively annihilating it. The Arasaka Corporation are aware if they want to achieve world domination, they will eventually have to subjugate or destroy the mass driver. Many commentators joke that the Arasaka Corporation is both omnipotent and omnipresent, but there is a ring of truth that drains the humour from these witticisms. Arasaka has attempted to manipulate its corporate image, extolling the virtues of its security department, touting the philanthropic work of Arasaka Bank, and explaining how its manufacturing arm and subsidiaries form the backbone of an economically sound Japan. True as this might be, there are too many rumours and memories adrift in the public consciousness, nor does the company's somewhat intimidating appearance do anything to endear it to the public. While Arasaka Corporation may be respected in Night City, there is an undercurrent of fear tempering attitudes towards Arasaka. Despite the nefariousness of Arasaka's covert goals, and often depicted as the bad guys for want of a better term, Arasaka are another megacorporation whom they may either do business with or be pitted against, depending on the choices they make in Cyberpunk 2077. Saburo Arasaka is the devious head of the Arasaka Corporation, which dominates most of the world, including Japan and America. Saburo has united factions of the Japanese government, the military, organized crime, and various smaller corporations under his control. Saburo Arasaka has become so powerful, many called the Cyberpunk 2020 era in cyberpunk history the Arasaka Shogunate. Saburo Arasaka's story began in 1942, where Lieutenant Arasaka, a 23-year-old scion of a wealthy family and descended from a samurai lineage, was engaged in battle against the American Air Force near Rabaul Island. Rabaul Island is a reference to the Battle of Rabaul, a fort on the island of New Britain in the Australian territory of New Guinea during the Second World War. Saburo Arasaka was a respected pilot, with over 20 confirmed kills to his name. During a skirmish with American F-4F Wildcat fighters, Saburo Arasaka momentarily passed through an enemy's line of fire, while making evasive maneuvers. Bullets smashed through the canopy of his plane, crippling his left arm and blinding his left eye. Despite critical injuries and encroaching upon unconsciousness, he managed to land his plane without crashing. Saburo Arasaka would later find himself hospitalized in Tokyo, being informed that he was now permanently blind in his left eye, and his left arm was useless. Mirroring actual events from World War II, on August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito of Japan broadcast an edict of surrender to Allied forces. This devastated Saburo Arasaka to such an extent he attempted seppuku, aka suicide. As Saburo's dagger penetrated his abdominal muscles, he experienced a moment of epiphany. Saburo Arasaka foresaw a future where Japan would be dominant again, not militarily, but commercially. Saburo Arasaka began fervently studying politics, philosophy and economics, that continued until his father's death in 1960. Now 41, Saburo Arasaka took over as head of the Arasaka Corporation, still a small organization establishing itself in international commerce. Saburo foresaw the dawn of the information age, and he knew that in order to achieve his goals, an information age weapon would be necessary. Saburo began fashioning the Arasaka Corporation into that weapon, beginning with the creation of the Arasaka Security Division. This division specialized in high-quality personnel, computer security, and protection. Arasaka Security quickly developed a reputation as being one of the best in the world in its area of expertise, with its intrusion countermeasures being adopted by many other corporations and governments. The opportune moment for Saburo Arasaka arrived in 1994, during the global market crash and shortly afterwards the collapse of the US economy in 1996. Saburo Arasaka had prognosticated financial turmoil on a global scale. He had already manipulated Arasaka's investments to ensure healthy profit from the demise of other corporations. The post-collapse world of corporate control led to widespread deregulation, which was exactly what Saburo Arasaka wanted. In 1997, Arasaka Security began establishing its own paramilitary forces, creating one of the world's first corporate armies. During the years 1997 to 2020, Saburo Arasaka continued to diversify and strengthen his investments, becoming one of the wealthiest men in the world. At the age of 101, Saburo was physically decrepit, but remains the genius he was in his younger years. Consequently, he has never relinquished his control over the Arasaka Corporation. Saburo was confined to a wheelchair after suffering a stroke in 2010. Doctors have informed him that his body can stand no further cybernetic or organic replacement, although the injuries to his left arm and eye have now been repaired. As a result, he seldom leaves the Arasaka family compound near Tokyo, and he never ventures outside of his beloved Japan. Saburo makes occasional trips to the Tokyo headquarters and to the research facility in the northern Honshu, but most of the time when he participates in board meetings, he does so via two-way holographic projection, or in a braindance universe where he appears as a feudal Japanese lord. He intends to have his personality downloaded to an artificial intelligence at the moment of his death. The equipment for this stands ready 24 hours a day at the Arasaka headquarters infirmary in Tokyo. A special team is on call to transport Saburo Arasaka if he becomes ill or suffers any sort of trauma, similar to the Trauma Team International. In the Cyberpunk 2020 narrative, other notable figures in the Arasaka family and the Arasaka Corporation are Kei Arasaka, Hanako Arasaka, and Yorinobu Arasaka. Heir apparent to the Arasaka Empire, Kei is Saburo's eldest son and most trusted confidant. Kei has been rigorously schooled and groomed to inherit the Arasaka Corporation. His expertise in matters of business, finance and investment is second only to his father's. Although Saburo Arasaka still makes the most critical decisions, Kei Arasaka, at age 40, is already official CEO of Arasaka, and he has many years of executive experience under his belt. Kei is not as driven as his father is, but he is calculating, cold and efficient. Kei Arasaka maintains a detachment he considers imperative to objective decision making. The only time Kei demonstrates any emotion is around his family and most trusted friends. While Saburo Arasaka is a virtual prisoner of the Arasaka compound, Kei often travels to Night City to consolidate business. Hanako Arasaka's impact on Arasaka's modus operandi and the Cyberpunk 2020 narrative was limited. Conceived when Saburo was 80, Hanako Arasaka is Saburo's youngest child. Saburo was charmed by his little daughter's stunning beauty, and he decided to raise her in the sheltered confines of the Arasaka compound to protect her from the scarring traumas of life in the exterior world. Although she is an adult now, Hanako still only leaves the compound about once a month, and then only under heavy escort. Cut off from the outside world, she learned how to travel and explore the net instead. Saburo made sure that Hanako was never made aware of the darker side of the corporation, but through her net explorations, Hanako began to discover the truth. After Yorinobu graduated from the University of Tokyo, Saburo explained to his younger son the true nature of the Arasaka Corporation. Rather than agreeing with his father's vision, Yorinobu Arasaka was secretly appalled. That night, after a celebratory dinner given in his honor, Yorinobu slipped out of the Arasaka compound and vanished into the Tokyo night. Yorinobu has gathered around him a cadre of tough Tokyo nomads, the Kotetsu no Ryu, also known as the Steel Dragons. Together they have sworn to expose Arasaka. Yorinobu's knowledge of Arasaka facilities and corporate procedures gives the Steel Dragons some advantages, but they still lack the power or information to make serious headway against the corporation. Yorinobu is, however, able to navigate the world of the street and the corporate tower with equal facility. Saburo Arasaka is greatly saddened by his younger son's disloyalty and acknowledges that Yorinobu must be eliminated. At this moment in time, speculating on whether these characters will be present in Cyberpunk 2077 is somewhat of an analytical cul-de-sac. In the original Cyberpunk 2020 timeline, Johnny Silverhand and Morgan Blackhand were effectively killed after Arasaka Towers in Night City was demolished by a nuclear demolition charge, as detailed in the Cyberpunk 2020 Firestorm sourcebook. While Kei Arasaka successfully escaped from Night City, he was later captured by Spider Murphy. Spider Murphy forced Kei to do the honorable thing and perform seppuku, using the Soul Killer system. During the Shockwave campaign, Kei used Soul Killer on Yorinobu to trap his engram. Players are given the option of saving him, but his fate was never revealed. Interestingly, if one delves into Cyberpunk V3, which is a different continuation to Cyberpunk 2020, Saburo Arasaka is beheaded shortly after Arasaka are defeated in Night City. However, and now that Mike Pondsmith has revealed that Johnny Silverhand and Morgan Blackhand will return in Cyberpunk Red, and clearly Arasaka are present in the Night City of Cyberpunk 2077, this suggests the fourth corporate war will not be the last time characters such as Saburo Arasaka make their mark on the world of Cyberpunk. On a side note, a name that is often synonymous with the Arasaka Corporation is Adam Smasher, the combat cyborg. Adam Smasher was originally a punk who enlisted in the army but was discharged for bad conduct. As a hired gun, he worked in New York, where his talents and sadistic thoroughness brought in enough eddies to provide him with guns, gear, drugs, and brutal one-night stands. On one job, however, Adam has an accident involving an RPG, essentially turning him into a meatloaf. A mysterious corporate benefactor decided to make Adam an offer he could not refuse: corporate service in a cyborg body or death. 7 years later, the new Adam Smasher made quite a reputation for himself, ensuring collateral damage and maximum civilian casualties on all his missions. Adam also has developed a rivalry with Morgan Blackhand, who he saw as a challenge to the metal is better than meat philosophy. During the Fourth Corporate War, Adam Smasher killed Johnny Silverhand, who was attempting to buy enough time for his hacker friend, Spider Murphy, the opportunity to break Alt Cunningham into a series of data packets and download her into the net. Morgan Blackhand then fights Adam Smasher atop Arasaka Towers, while the rest of the team is evacuated. The outcome of the duel is unknown because the nuclear demolition charges Morgan Blackhand deployed sets off the self-destruct bomb Arasaka had placed in its data core. This destroyed most of Night City and contaminated the ruins with lethal fallout. Mike Pondsmith has now confirmed Adam Smasher will not be returning for Cyberpunk Red. I'm Kazuliski, and I hope you found this Cyberpunk 2077 discussion on Saburo Arasaka and the Arasaka Corporation to be informative. If you are interested in additional Cyberpunk 2077 content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or feedback on this video, I would be interested in seeing them in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Shot.